Jake Paul once again defying the odds. Ryan Garcia headlined here, Canelo headlined here, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal headlined here, and he set the record. Also want to thank DAZN for their partnership. It's always great to work with them, and I think we had a very successful night in pay-per-view. In terms of Jake's commercial pay-per-view track record, this event was only behind Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. So once again, an amazing performance, and now showing he's doing it against the boxers. Before I hand it over to Jake, I just want to say one thing. He fought a 39-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and Zurdo Ramirez fought a 39-year-old opponent. Jake Paul thoroughly outclassed his opponent. Zurdo did not in his, 50th fight, or whatever the number of fights are that Zurdo has had. So before people online start to criticize that Jake isn't ready to be champion, they should look at exactly who's his co-main, the person he was fighting, the experience that Zurdo has, and what Jake Paul showed tonight.
Protect yourself at all times. Touch him up. Let's go to work.
I wonder how long it took Chavez to memorize the script that Team Jake Paul gave him. When Chavez stepped into that ring, it looked like he was just following a script. Every move, every round. Let's break it down. Was this the biggest fixed fight since Mike Tyson? Or just another chapter in Jake Paul's long list of stage matches? At the start, the ref says, protect yourself at all times. But Chavez took that too literally. Spent 10 rounds defending and doing nothing else. Fair play to Chavez. He done what he was supposed to do, what he got paid for. He memorized that script down to the last punch, but it was so obvious, so diabolical, so blatantly fixed. For an ex-world champ not to throw a punch when Jake drops his hands at close range, and not to throw any meaningful punches, and just stand there and let Jake look good, was disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. The public got conned, and they deserve to be conned, because they think Jake is a boxer. Boxing lost its dignity, the sport's integrity got crushed, and the whole thing looked like a joke. When Jake Paul looks for an opponent, he's spot for choice, retirees, journeymen, and anyone desperate enough for a paycheck. And why not? The deal is simple. I pay you, you let me win. No argument, no questions. Take it or leave it. And the money is big, enough to make many fighters sign that contract, even if it means throwing their pride out of the window. So who's to blame for this? Not Jake, not the promoters, not even the fighters who get paid to lose. It's the paying public. As long as fans keep buying the hype, Jake Paul will keep making millions and laughing all the way to the bank.
Your winner by unanimous decision, Jake
Let's have a look at Jake Paul's face, not a scratch on him. You'd think he just walked out of a beauty salon advertising facial beauty cream. He's got better skin than Kim Kardashian. Not a 10-round fight with a so-called former world champion like Chavez.
And listen, the last time you fought a fighter that had a lot of pressure towards you was Tommy Fury. You looked a lot different tonight. And people still go back to that fight and say, well, he couldn't beat Tommy Fury. Talk about how much different you are of a fighter now as opposed to when you fought Tommy.
I don't even think I was a fighter then. I was like 2.5 years into the sport. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have the proper team around me, the proper conditioning. My lifestyle outside of the ring was still that of like a YouTuber, celebrity actor, whatever I was at that point in time. So I wasn't fully focused on boxing. Like I said, feels like chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in the sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me. But what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that we've talked a lot about. Is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026. And we're going to meet with Matchroom while we're in New York to promote the greatest trilogy in the history of boxing, Taylor Serrano 3.
Hey, last question, Nikisa. This one's for you because I was going to bring up the Joshua thing. I know you've talked to Eddie Hearn in the past. Do you think they're keen on taking that fight? And Jake, this is also to you. moving back up to heavyweight? Like, how did you feel coming back down and moving back up?
No, I'm definitely not a heavyweight, but I'm still going to take the challenge. But, you know, you look at Deontay Wilder, he was beating these guys weighing 215 pounds. So anything is granted, he's like 6'6" or something, but anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Here it is, straight from the horse's mouth. Jake Paul's next opponent could be Anthony Joshua. And you know what? Why not? Joshua is done. He's no longer the golden boy of boxing. The hype has faded. He's been exposed, a poster boy with no real substance. Let's be honest, most of his opponents were carefully chosen, handpicked to make him look good. But when he finally fought real boxers, he got exposed and he got beat. Now, a fight with Wilder, that's risky. He could get knocked out badly. But a fight with Jake Paul, oh, that's some promoter's dream. Imagine it. Jake's massive following, Joshua's UK fan base, Wembley Stadium sold out in hours. And guess what? Jake Paul said it himself right after his last fight with Chavez. He'd love to fight Anthony Joshua, and get this, they're already talking to Eddie Hearn. Yep, this isn't just some crazy idea floating around. This will actually happen. Jake wants it. Eddie's listening. And with that much money on the table, you bet Eddie's paying attention. Who wouldn't promote this? It's a massive money fight. Jake Paul is a shrewd businessman. And Eddie Hearn, he loves money. Who doesn't? Now, let's get one thing straight and listen closely to what I'm about to say in the next few minutes of this video. Now, let's talk about Jake Paul. Like him or hate him, you have to admit he's winning. He's not an elite boxer. He's not fighting world champions. But what he's doing is something most promoters wish they could. He took YouTube fame, turned it into millions, and built a boxing promotion from scratch, using himself as the main event. What a clever bloke. Has Eddie Hearn ever done that? Frank Warren, Oscar De La Hoya, even though Oscar was a great fighter, he didn't build a brand the way Jake has from outside the sport. And here is the part that stings for some people. Jake is paying fighters more than most traditional promoters ever have. He put female boxers in the spotlight. He made fights that actually got people talking. And he sold more pay-per-views than some unification fights. Is that boxing purity? Nope. Is it smart business? 100%. Most of the fighters he faces aren't world class, and yes, he picks them carefully. His defense is shaky. He gets tired after round 5. And if he fought a serious pressure fighting boxer, he'd be exposed badly. But that's not the point. Jake isn't trying to be a world champion. Well, he wants to be a world champion, and he keeps saying that. That is just to sell tickets and promote himself. He's building a brand, printing money, and bringing in new fans into the sport while giving other fighters a chance to get paid. And that's why some people, some promoters, some fighters, some old school fans can't stand it. Because deep down, they wish it was them. They wish they had the platform, the attention, the ticket sales, the clout. Jake might not be a great boxer, but he's a great strategist. And then there's Carl Froch. He's called Jake Paul a joke and said he would never fight him. Because not only would he beat Jake, but he'd hurt him badly. Sounds like he's blowing Jake off, right? But if you listen carefully, there's a different tone. It's a kind of baiting. Like he's trying to get reaction, keep Jake talking, keep the spotlight on him, and that's the game they're playing. These retired legends know Jake sells. The money is bigger than most of their fights were, so they can't afford to ignore him. But they also can't afford to respect him. So they do this dance, talking shit, calling him joke, but never quite walking it back, because deep down they know Jake Paul is making moves they can't match. And let me tell you this, after all the ridiculing, all the talk, all the disrespect, if Jake Paul picked up the phone and called Carl Froch for a fight, I bet my house Carl Froch will jump at the chance, even if Jake put a clause on the contract that Carl had to lose, like Mike Tyson did when he fought Jake Paul. Remember that? Mike Tyson got paid whopping £20 million for just 8 rounds of 2 minutes each. And I'm sure Carl or any other elite retired boxer will kiss Jake Paul on the lips to get that opportunity and that amount of money. Because when the money is that big, all the talk about not fighting goes right out the window. And if he ever teams up with Turki Al-Sheikh, boxing as you know it will never be the same. So say what you want about Jake Paul, but you can't deny one thing. He's changing the game. He's laughing all the way to the bank. Thanks for watching, folks. If you like this content, hit the like and subscribe for further videos. Ciao.